Remember that day? October 7th, 2023. Of course you remember it. You were out there celebrating. The so-called freedom fighters, the resistance, the militants breaking out of this open-air prison, showing those Zionists what we're made of. Freedom! Until, moments later, you started seeing some of the footage that was being released. And it touched you to the very core and essence of your being and soul. Can't celebrate that. Seeing videos of a beautiful young lady paraded on the back of a pickup truck through the streets of Gaza, practically naked with her legs snapped backwards, a bullet hole through the back of her skull, whilst people spat at her in the street. It didn't feel right, did it? Ooh. So what you did? Rather than condemning this act and apologising for celebrating, you tried to convince yourself and the rest of the world that it's justified. This didn't start on October 7th. It started well earlier, 75 years ago, back in 1948, before most of us were ever born. And you realize that still doesn't feel right. So you went one step further. You tried to convince yourself and the world that it didn't happen. It's all a bunch of Zionist lies. And you know who that pissed off more than the Zionists and the Jews? Pissed off those terrorists. Pissed off Hamas. Because unlike the Nazis who tried to hide their crimes, they knew you wouldn't believe the Zionist lies. So they went out of their way to film it. They bought GoPros and uploaded it for the whole world to see. And you still didn't believe it. You still didn't believe it. And then ironically out of nowhere, in a 360 turn, all of a sudden you do believe it. But it wasn't Hamas, it wasn't those terrorists. It was the Israelis. And civilians weren't targeted, they were just caught up in the crossfire. Israelis were just slaughtering their own civilians. Remember that with the hostages? Remember how you denied anyone was taken hostage? And you see videos pop up all over the world of people tearing down posters of kidnapped young children. It's all Zionist propaganda. Until you find out the hostage has been released due to the fact that the hostage has a husband in Gaza, still kept captive, doesn't speak negative because she doesn't want anything to happen to her. You immediately convince the world, oh, they may have hostages, but they treated them nicely. Cheese and cucumbers, hair conditioner, shampoo. It's beautiful. And you took that face value. Didn't trust any Israeli news, didn't trust any Zionists. All of a sudden you believe this wholeheartedly. Look, she validated my cognitive bias, my cognitive dissonance. And you turned around and said, look how well they treated these hostages. Perhaps according to your logic, what happened was a bunch of people broke out of prison for the first time in their lives, just trying to get a taste of freedom, of liberty, the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of holiness. And suffice to say, see a bunch of civilians in a rave, peaceful loving people in their towns get slaughtered by Israelis. And you, being heroes of humanity, you couldn't take that. So you know what you did? You immediately took them, courtesy of good faith. You took those people back into your hometown. You went back into the prison, took them in there, healed the sick, bandaged them up, but wouldn't give them back to the Israelis because you don't trust to put them back in the hands of those Zionist terrorists who are slaughtering their own people. True freedom fighters, lovers of all humanity. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Only release them once we can assure that they're going to be in the hands of people who will actually take care of them and not slaughter them. Makes so much sense. You know what? If it wasn't for double standards, you wouldn't have any standards at all.